Be right back. Think of some good subjects for us. We're going good.
We're coming back. Jack had to go poop. I've asked you 3 times. Hit the red button. I hit the red.
Don't go get on high and mighty when we go on the air.
Right, now you're peeking.
Look how our demeanor changes when we go on the air.
Look at you peeking.
It's kind of funny. We're over here. We're just kind of.
Can you stop peeking?
We're kind of chilling, and then like we go on the air and we turn into different animals.
You're just like you're like a kid, dude. You just don't listen.
I get excited.
All right, I don't want to peek. This is a podcast.
Yep.
Misguided fishing podcast.
Oh yeah.
Just the 2 of us tonight, today, whatever. Just 2 of us.
Kind of a fireside chat.
Yeah, getting this one out. Fireside chat. Just touch what's been going on in the winter. We could have had a guest today. We've had plenty of guests. Don't think we can't get a guest.
Yeah, no, we got
guests.
We've got some. We're kind of doing this one to set up for our big run of big time guests.
Yeah, and also you're getting ready to go out of town for 3 weeks.
Yeah, getting ready to go out of town for 3 weeks. So we got
nothing chaps my ass worse than letting this thing die.
Yeah, I know.
It's my favorite. It's, out of all the bullshit creative stuff I try to do, this is my favorite.
Yeah, it's fun. We have fun.
I really enjoy it. And you leaving town and letting it just die on the vine while you're dicking off in Central America.
Just feeding my family, dude.
You're not feeding your family.
I am. I have work to do.
You are not hurting for money.
I'm going to work. I would be hurting for money if it wasn't for this. It's hard to make it as a fisherman on the Outer Banks in the wintertime. And I'm learning that as a fisherman on the Outer Banks in the wintertime right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's bad weather. There's not many trips. You gotta, what do you got to do? You got drop netting. If you get a job on a drop net boat,
no,
you don't want to do that.
No.
Maybe
I did it once one winter.
Some guys are gill netting, maybe some oysters. Not really. And then what I do is go try and catch bluefins, and I'm not very good at that.
And you went on a day the other day where nobody should have left the house.
Yeah, we did. Yep, we did. Yeah, crossing the bar in the winter, and just going out there, and you're fishing for one bite. But I mean, it is possible to make money doing it in the wintertime if you catch enough.
All right. I don't think it is.
It is.
I don't think there's anything worth it. But that being said, tell me, how many have you caught this year for money? How many, not on a charter, how many have you packed out this winter?
5. That's not many. I mean, and I was gone. In my defense, I was gone for 2 weeks of the season.
Okay, how many trips that you've run, or how many commercial endeavors have you run where you packed out?
Myself, I've sold a fish on 5 out of 7 trips.
Have you got a price?
Yeah. I mean, I made a little money. We've been getting like $9, $9.50. I mean, we had a like a $4.50 dresser the other day. So we've been getting some money for them. So I've made a little check in the time I've been home from Costa Rica.
So that one day you made a day's pay.
You make
maybe a day and a half's paid charter fishing.
Yeah,
set the record straight, because our next guest, I'm gonna get him he'll set the record straight.
Well, he's good at it, and he charges a little harder than I do. I mean, I try and pick my weather days, and what I've learned is you can't do that. You have to go when other boats are going. You have to go. You got to be prepared to spend the night if you have to.
What?
You got to stay out there and get one. Otherwise, you go behind. I mean, with fuel costs, it's expensive. So you go out there for a day and you don't catch anything, you're $1,000 in the hole, just like that.
That's the glamour and glory of commercial fishing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's not, and the fish haven't been biting that good this year. And so, it's not, it used to be, I mean, God, you show up and set them out and You got him on first thing, catch the fish, go on home, But this year, it's taken some effort for sure. So, and we've had, I had a little bit of a mishap yesterday.
Oh, do tell.
We had some.
Do tell. Was it a comedy of errors?
No. I take the blame. The 130 rods we have the roller guides, right, and the tip.
Explain it.
So it's guides where the line goes through, and they have these rollers on them to make the line go in and out more smoothly through the rod when you're fishing heavier drag.
All right.
And the tip is the most important part, especially when you're fighting that fish in the rod holder and the rod's swinging to follow the fish. And we noticed a couple weeks back we actually lost a fish because of it. That from trolling where the line was coming out the side of this roller, it had been rubbing on it, and whether it was not a good quality roller, whether we were doing something wrong, I don't know, but it had rubbed it down to where the smooth coating had rubbed through, and it had turned it basically into sandpaper. Sharp burrs, almost like pits in the side of the roller guide. And we lost we lost one on the leader last night, and then we were lucky enough to go back in there, find the mark, and hook another one, and we lost another one the same way.
How far along in the fight?
One was 2 hours in, the other one was about 45 minutes in. Right, the fish were on the leader.
I'm getting ready to throw up now. I mean, that's just depressing.
And it was blowing 25, and it was rough, and it was dark, and there was a north wind shift coming. We're probably better off that we did not catch the second fish, that the line did break.
Tell yourself that.
Because it got so rough, and we were so far outside the 100 in the Gulf Stream.
How far away?
I was 12 miles over the bank when we finished up last night.
Not everybody knows what that means.
So the 100 fathom line is usually, where the continental shelf drops off. And then the Gulf Stream passes up and outside that. And so the fish have been in the Gulf Stream, so they've been in the current. And so when you hook these fish, the current you're in this 5 knots of Gulf Stream current, so you just get swept out to sea while you're fighting the fish. And so the longer you fight the fish, the further away you get from home. And so when the wind breeze is up in that Gulf Stream, it can get really, really rough, especially depending on the direction. And the wind came straight west last night, and that was not good. And so when we finally finished up losing our last fish, it was probably 6 foot and probably about 2 seconds apart. And I could make about 9 knots going straight into it. And that was coming down, bam, bam, bam. It was just, so the point I'm making is that, and then there was a shift coming. So the point I'm making is that had we caught that fish, it took us basically just over idling for 15 miles before the sea calmed down enough to run. So had we caught that fish, we would have had to put it on the tail rope, drug it at idle, which would have been very slow because as we were going into the tide, so that slows you down. We would have had to get out of the current, back in, and then continue idling until it was calm enough to pull the fish onto the boat. And then at that point, the wind would have shifted, and and as I was getting in crossing the bar last night, it was getting rough. So the point is that as we would have hit the shift, and it would have gotten rough from a completely different direction than it was rough going that way. And it would have just been a really tough, hard, long night.
But it wouldn't have been nearly as depressing.
Yeah, the first fish really broke my heart. It was
2 hours into it. Dollar signs in your eyes.
Check your guides, everyone. Check your guides. Yeah. It sucks when something that's easily preventable. That I take full responsibility. We ordered the better guides, but they weren't going to be here in time. So I just said, well, let's just try and get through. And we did. We caught some fish with those rods, but when it came time to catch the big one in the challenging conditions, they let me down.
It usually does, man.
Yeah. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
It's usually when you really need it.
Yeah, and we could have. Yeah, that would have been a great fish for me to end the season on. There were some really big fish caught yesterday. There's big ones out there right now, freaking monsters. 6, 7, 800 pounders are out there swimming around right
Oh, that's
now.
cool. Are you giving the helm to your mate when you go?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it looks like it's blowing right now
Uh,
through maybe Tuesday.
okay.
Um, and I don't. The quota should be almost done.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we've gone over. They've let us go over, so I would think it would be over with pretty soon. So.
You're probably going to end like this, thinking about losing two.
Oh, I'm yeah. This, which is maybe a good thing, because I end, you know,
How's it good?
well, I'm hungry.
How can you justify that? I mean,
I'm
I sucked it up my last day. It's good.
I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm ready. I learned my lesson. Ready to reconvene next year and really, get after him.
All right. What do you mean about tail rope? I know I've seen some. You guys are putting them and dragging them behind the boat. Why?
Oh, we bleed them.
Okay.
So they like for we basically some guys like my Frenzy will tell you about this, but he puts a hook in their jaw and actually drags them along head first and swims them and kind of brings them back to life, lets them kind of chill. We don't do that. We hit them with the harpoon, pull them up, gaff them, put a rope around the tail, and then cleat them off. And then we take and cut out the back of their gills so they start to bleed.
Yeah.
And then we just drag them along, and that water will help. As their heart's pounding the blood out, the water will help pull the blood out as well. The buyer does not. He'll cut the tail off your fish, and he prefers to not see much blood coming out of the fish when he cuts the tail off. So the less blood, the better. Just I guess makes for more quality eating sushi wherever those fish wind up. So, which what we understand is most of them are going to Boston and New York. They're staying domestic, as opposed to used to be they would go to Japan, and now most of them are staying domestic because sushi's cool now. Everybody likes to eat sushi. So, anyway, it's kind of neat.
Well, it is. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it again or say it again, but we're gonna pump it up. Our next guest is going to be Greg Mayer, Fishing Frenzy, who's got a lot more juice than you and I.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he doesn't normally have those problems that I have on his fish. He usually catches them.
And I'm sure he'll tell you just ask him, say, who's the worst mate that ever worked for you, Greg? When you're here tomorrow, just ask
Maybe
him.
he can make that his trivia question.
No, I've got a trivia question for him that nobody will ever get, but I'm not going to let him use that for a trivia question, but I will. He'll probably tell you, yeah, I was the worst mate. He'll come in and tell you that I was asleep. We were at Bluefin, and he came down the bridge to look for me, and I was in the cabin sleeping.
Did you have him on or no?
No, I don't think we might have had a bite or something. And
Blind popped
it
out.
might have been time to change the baits, and I was downstairs sleeping.
Oh, you get tired. It's a grind.
Yeah.
You were bluefin on the Frenzy?
Yeah, we left here and went all the way to Kennebunkport and fished up there, and I got on a plane and went to grad school. We'll talk about it with Greg.
Okay, yeah, I can't wait.
I don't want to.
Yeah, we've got lots
blow
to
my
talk
wad
about with
right
him.
now. Anyway, let me tell you a story about embarrassing stories. Since you were gracious enough to.
Yeah. Hey, you got to own it, right?
Early on in the career, we were cobia fishing because that's the only thing, one of the two things I know how to catch, I guess. And guy wanted to do a show, and it's very rare that you get a guy to do a show on the days that fish bite.
Yes.
Or the day they said it's good. It was one of those days. Fish were lined up on a change, boxed up, with like a 6-degree temperature break.
Like you want.
And they wouldn't cross into the cooler water.
Like only happens every 6 or 8 years.
I mean, just conditions were right where you didn't have to be very good to catch them.
Right.
And there was lots of fish potted up.
Probably not many boats at that time.
There were some boats, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, this guy had, he had the gear and the camera gear and everything, man, and tackle. I was not the best at taking care of my tackle. And I think we ended up catching 8, still enough to make it look like a good show. But I mean, I think Aaron caught 28 beside me that day or something. We went 8 and busted off 12. 12 cobias, busted them. I mean, not pulled them off, busted them off.
Oh my God.
Just line breaking.
You felt about this big.
It really did, man. You're going to pull the drags and they're seized and stuff, man. And the line's all chalky looking, That's before we were using braid. So
right.
We're still using mono. And
there's some days.
I did not get a second show.
There's some days that you would like to have back.
You really would, man.
You know what I mean? Like yesterday, I mean, it's just a great example of a day that I look back and I say, man, that would have been so easy to prevent. Like how easy would that have been? Yeah, and because I knew about my problem. You probably had some inclination
Oh,
that,
I did, man. I knew that. I just, it's good enough to get through.
yeah,
You never
yeah,
have to tell yourself,
exactly.
man.
That,
I've got enough rods where it's going to be good enough to get through. We'll hook them on the not good ones.
yeah,
But
I said that to my guys. I said, well, we'll get through the season with these, and then we'll change them out and get some good ones for next year. I said that. I did.
it's unfortunate, but I think that's the way we learn how to be better.
Yeah.
You really do, man. Because you don't. The worst thing in this business, man, is embarrassing yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you can always sell bad fishing. I mean, you can entertain, you can talk, you can be a personality. But when your shit's popping, when you're breaking fish off, man, on something that's as easy as just respooling.
Yeah, respooling and putting a little WD-40 on something,
man. That's
I know. I mean, and a lot of times it happens, like you said, it happens when it's a great big fish on a rough day and it's your last day of fishing, or it happens when you have a TV show on the boat. It happens at the time it's supposed to happen, basically. I mean, at the worst possible time every single freaking time, It's crazy. It's like they know.
We'll get back to it, man. Let's we got a sponsor. Did you know we have a sponsor?
TW's Bait and Tackle.
TW's Bait and Tackle.
Yeah.
Let's go to them, see what they want to try to talk about, and then we'll come back.
All right. Sounds good.
Red button.
Yeah. Sorry.
This used to be your job.
Yeah, Donnie D from DOA and Misguided Fishing. Check it out. TW's got everything you need to catch all the fishes. The rods, the reels, string, baits, from all the guys that make that stuff. Shimano, Daiwa, Penn, St. Croix, Yoseria, Meat Hog, etc., etc., etc. You want to look fly when you're doing all that catching? They got you covered with gear from Salty Crew, Pelagic, Extra Tough, and more. You got questions? Ask away. TW's is staffed by people who fish every chance they get. They got their finger on the pulse of Outer Banks fishing. I haven't even scratched the surface of this place. It's like a toy store for grown-ups. So check out TW's Bait and Tackle in Nags Head, the Outer Banks' largest tackle shop. Milepost 10. And now, back to Misguided Fishing.
Red button.
It's already pressed.
You already pressed the red button?
That's what I thought.
Got to make a longer ad or get another sponsor. You were pooped so long. I'm serious.
I know. Well, I was reading that there was a pretty interesting article about a World War II bomb in England. They just went off.
I saw that.
Yeah, kind of cool. Well, not cool, but it's amazing that kind of stuff's still
Not
out
relevant to this show.
there. I know. Anyway, it was in a river. Might have killed some fish.
What else you got this week? Is that all you got? That's
Um,
all you bring to the table?
Well, what about we need to do a fishing report? I think.
You gave your fishing report.
Well, I just told you about the bluefins that I've been screwing up.
There's a lot of reds around.
Still reds?
I've heard there's trout around too. I went the other day, it was cold, so looked at a bunch of fish. I'm really good about looking at them.
Sounds like west side of the sound, over in the Long Shoal area south is
I don't understand it. They're catching so many fish. I'm supposed to go over this week and film with a guide over there, Captain Kyle Elliott. Got a little charter operation over there, and he wants to come film their sight fishing some reds.
Oh, really?
It sounds like it's really good.
And those ones are biting.
Yeah.
Huh.
They're biting over here. A guy had a really good day on them yesterday.
Really?
I'm not saying who, because I don't want guys following them around. But
well, that makes sense. The wind blew southwest.
we had three really warm days. The fish that we were looking at, I've been looking at all winter, decided they chewed. It was cool to hear. And it's really interesting, man. I'm hoping this is where we're going to go in the future, is that have something to count on. Have something to count on this time of year. Maybe I can get back to fishing in the winter.
Wouldn't that be great?
Instead of just talking about fishing in the winter.
I know. Remember we used to have a great charter business.
Not talking about it. Not talking about them. I'm I'll say that. I've got them all pulled up, all my old videos at home, man. I'm getting ready to start putting them on YouTube Shorts.
Poppers and jigs and everything like that.
Yeah.
Fly.
I was looking at the picture the other day of
picking them up floating because there were so many, the trawl boats were just throwing them overboard.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, and so I had a charter this week. Also,
Not the one where you broke a bunch of fish off.
no, that was not a charter. That was commercial fishing.
Feed your family day.
Feed your family day. Yeah,
Your family, baby's hungry.
Yeah, I know she is. But the shorts, the small bluefins that you can keep year round, one per day, are thick.
What's the size on that?
Under 72.
Okay, under 72, you can keep one
per day. Yep, and it's there's a slot. I don't know exactly how. It's pretty small. You're not going to catch one that as small as they're supposed to be, as they have to be illegal to keep too small. They're yeah, lots of them. I mean, we went through them the other day and hooked four at a time. Kept our one, caught and released another one, and then went looking for a big one. Been some big blackfins down there to the south too. So it's pretty cool. Kind of two areas. One area where you can go, if we've got a charter, you can get them something to eat for dinner, and then there's the area where the trophy fish are living. The big ones.
so far away though.
Yeah, it's a long run, but it's a beautiful morning run. You run straight down the beach. Right. You go past Rodanthe and Avon and the National Seashore, and the sun comes up, and it's a nice sunrise. And if you have a nice these guys, we planned the day. Back in October, they booked the day, and it was slick, calm the day they picked in February. How lucky is that?
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen. It's blowing right now. It blew yesterday.
It's going to blow tomorrow.
It's going to blow tomorrow. It's going to blow the day after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to get cold again. Then we got some warm weather coming up next week. I hope I have pretty weather for filming. We're not going if it's not pretty. It doesn't do me any good.
Yeah. Well, who wants to go?
Sight fishing, if it's cloudy and blowing, it's not very good.
And it's not very good just for yourself either.
No, not
I
especially. I have to get up early to drive to, I think it's in Swan Quarter.
Oh my God, you're going to have to get up at like 4.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty.
Oh man. Do you want me to call you and make sure you're up?
No.
Because I'll be in Costa Rica and I'll still be up before you.
Yeah, I'm not getting up unless it's, one, I'm not getting up at 4. We'll have to push the trip back a couple hours. If I'm coming down.
Perfect. Well, I can call you and make sure you're up. I get up at 3:30 down there.
I went to the doctor this week because I try to get checked once a year. I didn't tell my wife this story yet.
Colonoscopy?
Luckily, no. That's every 10 years for me.
Okay.
You haven't been there yet.
No. Won't be long.
Yeah, it's not that bad. The prep is horrible, and Joe will tell you that.
Yeah.
He told me that. I mean, I had a raw. It was raw. Let's not go there. Anyway, I'm gonna tell the story, but my wife, she never watches the podcast, so I can tell it. I wanted to get my stuff cut off my face the other day, or get it burned off if I had to. And they said, "When's the last time you had a full body check?" And I said, "It's been a couple of years." And she said, "All right, here, take everything off, leave your underwear on." I don't like underwear.
I would agree with you there.
So
you had to break the news to her.
So I didn't even tell her. And she just gave me the paper. Said, "Send on this paper sheet, in your underwear. That's on the." So I took the paper sheet and wrapped it around me like a towel. I got like this 23-year-old nurse and probably a mid-30s doctor lady. Both of them were attractive, and they come in and they said, "All right, stand up and turn around. Let me see back your legs." So I have to pull up the paper sheet. It's paper. It's stuff's like tissue.
And there's your ass.
And I ripped it in half. I was using it as a towel. So now I'm naked. Everybody's trying to maintain composure. And she says, "Sit back down." So now my paper sheet's gone, and I'm sitting there with my hands trying to cover my junk inside, and everybody's just trying to pretend that there's nothing to look at, which was really not much to look at, but still enough that's sneaking around the edge of my hand here in the doctor's office. They're burning stuff off my face with and they're checking me all over, and I'm just sitting there with nothing on now. Completely embarrassing.
They probably think we're strange. The ones that don't wear the underwear.
I mean, it's because I'm older, a lot older than them.
Yeah, but I'm with you, and I have gotten to. I mean, and especially fishing. I mean, I don't know that I've worn jeans in it's been a couple years since I've worn a pair of jeans. I'm all on the sweatpants.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a sweat, especially for fishing every day. Like,
I never understood that guy. The guys, the mates, offshore mates would wear jeans offshore
yeah,
fishing.
under their oil, and especially when it's cold, they're probably wearing oilskins that that day. So it's like, God, that's the worst. The jeans under your oilskins is awful.
It's sweating on the jeans or getting your jeans wet with spray.
Yeah,
Miserable.
chafing and
Miserable. I don't have that problem.
no,
I don't.
Me
Anyway,
neither.
I haven't worn underwear since I was 16. I'm 40.
Yeah, same. And
Like the day I got my driver's license from my, I said it's about to get real.
yeah, cheap sweatpants. My wife drives my wife nuts. I go to Walmart and I get like gray sweatpants for like $8 a pair.
And they're so thin that you can just see it swinging
Yeah.
back and forth when you walk.
Yeah, but they're
Your wife
wonderful.
loves that when you're public and she's looking at you and you fucking junk's doing this.
Oh God, she always tells me about that. She always lets me know.
Oh man.
But I don't know. I guess I didn't know girls, check guys. I mean, we check girls out like that, so I guess they check us out like that too. Apparently,
Walmart sweaters they're so thin,
yeah. I know that's why I like them because they're cozy. The thin makes them more comfortable.
but they don't hide much. That's my point.
Yeah, but that's okay. They're light, and I'm comfy.
You've got a wife and a kid. You got to start thinking about somebody besides yourself.
I start wearing
What kind of
compression
creep
shorts.
walks? You're probably just walking around Walmart.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I don't. I don't like to go into stores. I have social anxiety. Believe it or not.
yeah. I don't believe that. I do, but you don't.
I don't
Do
know
you
where-
have anything else fishing related that we can talk about?
Man, I mean, it's winter time. Going back to Costa Rica on Monday.
What are you doing?
Tournament fishing. We've got 2 tournaments.
What tournaments?
There's a ladies tournament in Capos called the Pescadera. So we're gonna have a boat full of female anglers. And so that's a pretty good tournament. And then we'll come back. So Capos is about 2 hours south on a boat from Los Sueños. So we'll take everything and take the boat down there and
Fishing out of Capos.
fishing out of Capos. We'll tie up there and we'll fish. I think it's a 2-day tournament. We'll pre-fish a couple days and then we'll go down there and we'll fish that tournament. And then we'll come back. Our regular tournament crew will come in and we'll fish 3 days of practice for that. And then we'll fish the 3-day tournament, the second leg of the Triple Crown Los Sueños tournament. And then I'll come home. So, and then we go back one more time for 2 weeks in March for another tournament, which will be the last leg.
And the Tar Heel's down there,
Correct.
and then the Tar Heel will come back here.
I don't know.
Does it come back here, or does it?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Costa Rica is a hard place to leave because you might take up offshore fishing again in Costa Rica.
I ported at Capos.
I mean, you don't leave too early. It's always calm, and it's always warm.
I was in Guatemala, not that far away.
Yeah, and the other thing is you don't go out saying, I wonder if I'm going to get a marlin bite today. You go out saying, I wonder how many marlin bites I'm going to get today. And that is a beautiful thing. I probably just jinxed myself saying that, and I'm glad this won't come out when anybody that fishes with me will see it because they're very superstitious. And anything like I always say it's like the announcer went on a football game and so-and-so hasn't missed a field goal in 75 attempts. And then immediately, as soon as they say that, he misses it. As soon as you say something like that, in fishing too, oh man, that leader's really holding up. That's some strong stuff. And as soon as you say that, it breaks.
But it's not. You're not going to go down there and take a skunk, or you're not going to go down there and not see something.
We're going to catch something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario for y'all would be having to run from the mahis
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which we did last
because they're
time.
tearing up your.
Yeah.
Are y'all pulling what kind of teaser are you pulling? Are you pulling Ponza still?
No. I don't know what that is.
It's a teaser. That's what they called it. I remember my mate called it. We pulled big soft head teasers with dolphin belly sewed into it.
Oh yeah. No, I like a dolphin belly, but no, we're 2 dredges, and then 2 on under the water, and then on the surface over top of the dredges are squid chains, with some kind of skirted bait behind them. Like usually it's like a big chugger head with a mackerel, or with a split tail mullet, or with a ballyhoo. So kind of gotten away from the strip baits. Seems like the seems like those, the natural cut types of fish, kind of work a little, maybe raise them a little better than the strip. But I personally, I've fished a lot of strips in Colombia, and I love a strip bait. The beauty of the strip bait is they can't get it off the hook. You stitch or get it off the teaser. You sew that thing up so tight and salt it real good, and it's just like a pork rind, and they grab a hold of that as many times they grab it, and they can't mess it up, So I do like a strip bait for sure.
So what are y'all pulling? 2 dredges for teasers or
2 dredges, 2 squid chains, and then 4 ballyhoos with hooks.
Oh, you're pulling. All right, I didn't know you're pulling a hooked rig.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, so 4 anglers. Everybody holds a rod. They sit there and hold a rod all day long.
Well, that gets heavy.
It does. Yeah, it does. We rotate every 30 minutes, so you rotate your position to a long rig or flat line, and stand there, hold a rod, get and it. If you're trying to catch every bite, which you have to down there because the competition's so steep, you have to do it. Because sometimes they come in, sometimes they'll come in there sneaky, and you'll barely just feel that little tap, and you'll drop it back and got him on sailfish or blue marlin, So you never know. So really everything's got to be just right because the competition over there is probably the best in the world.
Very cool, man.
Yeah,
it is cool fishing. I give you a hard time, but that's really cool fishing.
It is. Yeah, it's cool fishing. It's work. You work hard. We go hard. Long days fishing, and it's a beautiful boat to take. That you have to. It's hard work taking care of it, keeping it clean, keeping it nice. And we make breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the boat a lot of times. So there's always you're working from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. You don't stop.
I heard that's what you're going to do this year on the Aficionado, is to try to step your game up, and you're going to start cooking your party's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We don't know. We haven't announced anything about that yet. But if I get a call and somebody asks, we can probably figure something out. We got a Weber grill. This time of year, we do the crock pot. We take some bratwurst or a pork butt and get some coleslaw, pork butt, little vinegar sauce in the crock pot. By lunchtime, you got a pulled pork sandwich. It's a beautiful thing.
That sounds delicious.
It's nice to have something hot to eat when it's when you're out there and it's cold and windy and nasty.
Nobody wants to eat when it's that rough, though.
I usually get over my seasickness about lunchtime, and then
if you
I'm
point
hungry.
it down C, I'll be all right.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't mind turning it down.
Just keeping it down C the whole time, the whole day. There's no go inside too.
Well, as much current as there is, if I were to go down C with the current, then we would wind up 100 miles from home by the end of the day. We wouldn't like that.
That's the price you got to pay, I guess. Have me on board. All right, I really don't have anything else, but I'm super stoked to announce that Frenzy's going to be on here.
Yeah.
And guys, my age with just a ton more experience than I could ever have.
Yeah.
And the guy is one of those dudes that knows how to fix stuff.
Yeah, very good with the boat.
Crafty.
Yeah, fixing stuff, building stuff. He's it's pretty neat to see where his boat was when he got it and where it is now. He's turned it into a really, really nice, piece of equipment.
It's safe to say that he is the antithesis of me.
I think so. He enjoys that stuff.
Yeah.
He likes the project. He likes getting out there and getting after it and doing that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I don't love to grind fiberglass or sand or paint or anything like that.
But anyway, man, he's a good boatsman. Somebody that we'll learn about, and I hope we can talk him into telling some really good stories.
Yeah, I think we can.
All right, man. Thanks. Next episode is Frenzy. We don't have anything to give away this week. We didn't come up with a question. I've only got a few more, and I want to save them from Greg and the next one after that.
Yeah. You can see us this episode on YouTube,
Spotify,
and Apple Podcasts.
Check us out, man. Thanks. Misguided Fishing, DOA, Aficionado.
Peace out.
Misguided Fishing has been brought to you by TW's Bait and Tackle, Nag's Head. Thanks everybody for watching, for listening. We'll see you next time.